Good morning and welcome to our community meditation. And good morning to all of you who are joining us online this morning, or afternoon, or wherever you are. And thank you for being with us as we connect in consciousness. My name is Karen Dunphy, and I'm a licensed practitioner here with Centers for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. And please take a moment to silence all your devices so that we may have an uninterrupted experience together. And this meditation will be a blend of spoken word, contemplation, and silence, accompanied by some beautiful music. And it will last approximately 15 minutes or so. And just take a moment now to turn within. I invite you to let your eyes close if you're comfortable. Let yourself take a couple of deep breaths. Let yourself travel from your mind down to your heart. Deep down into your heart where all is well. It's always been well. No harm has ever come to that place in you, and nor will it ever will. Imagine there's a meditation cushion. Sit down with your wiser self, and just know that there's nowhere else you need to be. Nothing else you need to do. Nothing else you need to think. As you focus and be aware of your breathing in and breathing out, let your focus stay on yourself in the presence of spirit within. Breathing in, breathing out. Today's meditation will open with some words from our beloved Sufi mystic and poet Rumi, who said, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase, each other, doesn't make any sense. Breathing in, breathing out. So during our meditation, I will give you prompts to contemplate as you focus on the presence of spirit within. When your mind wanders, which it does, simply say to yourself, "Thought," and gently bring your mind back to your awareness of your breath. So you may repeat the prompt as a mantra, or just hold it in your consciousness. I am at home in the heart of God. I release all fear. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I am living love. I can never be separate. God is the love that I am. God is the peace that I am. God is the friend that I am. God is the universe that I am. God is in me, as me, and is me. Now I invite you to gently bring your consciousness back into the room with a couple of deep breaths, realizing the presence of Spirit within. And this brings our meditation to a close this morning. And we'll be on a little break, and the service will begin at 10 a.m. Thank you very much.
May I see with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I see with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I see with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I see with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I May I, may I, may I, may I see with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I see with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I see. May I. There is a power, a presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love, there can only be God's love. Oh yes, I know that I walk. Oh yes, I walk in the love of God. Oh, there is a wisdom, a knowing, a loving, and a truth. Whatever you need to know will come in God's way for you. Just say, until it's strong, I'll pray. I won't move until I know that I walk in the There is a power, a presence, one life for all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love, God's love. Oh, yes, I know that I walk. Oh, yes, I walk in the love of God. I walk in the love of
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Laura, and it is my pleasure to be with you here today. We are having another beautiful day here in Paradise, and I think people are home enjoying it. But we are so glad that all of you came here to be here with us today. Personally, I'd rather be in the cool air conditioning than out in the heat, but hey, you know, everybody has their things. I want to say hi to the people that are joining us online. If you would, turn around and wave at the window back there. We are so thrilled to have everyone that joins us online each week. And if you ever want to catch any of the services again, we keep all of our services are archived on our YouTube channel, and you're welcome to go and check them out anytime you want. Joe does wonderful things with all of our videos, our music, our meditations, and so forth. So we're going to kick it off this morning with a little music. We have the words are going to be up here on the screen. The song is "Home is Where the Love Is." If you want to stand and join us, it'd be great.
I am home where the love is. I am one with Spirit. Thankful for my blessings every moment, every day. I am home where the love is. Surrounded in God's presence. Resting in my love and truth. I let Spirit lead the way. It's lovely to meet you and to get to know your face. We are surrounded by love, flowing through this sacred space. We listen now as Spirit gently leads the way, as we open to the mystery. With love we will say, I am home. For my blessings every moment, every day. I am home where the love is. Surrounded in God's presence. Resting in my love and truth. I let Spirit lead the way. We gather together and Spirit guides our way. We are united in truth, and love leads our way. We open to our calling, buried deep within. We listen for the silent voice, and together we sing. I am home where the love is. I am one with Spirit. Thankful for my blessings every moment, every day. I am home where the love is. Surrounded in God's presence. Resting in my love and truth. I let Spirit lead the way. Resting in my love and truth. I let Spirit lead the way. Hey, good morning, everybody. At this time, greet your neighbor if you're comfortable doing so.
Joe, would you put the slide up that's on my computer? I forgot to mention we have brand new connection cards. If you are new to our center, or if you've had some of your information change, would you grab one of the connection cards out of the back of the seat in front of you? And not every seat has a pocket, but there's several of them in each row that does. And fill out that information. You can give it to us at the end of service or when we do our offering, or give it to Kaylee in the back at the table, just so we can keep in touch with you. If you're brand new and like to know a little bit more about us, we'll put you on our email list. We don't send out a ton of emails, let me just tell you, so you won't get inundated with them. But you'll be able to find out what's happening here at our center. So as I said, those are in the back of your seats in front of you. All right, we're going to shift things now to invite up our practitioner of the day, Karen Dunphy, to give us our affirmation and our invocation. Karen?
Thanks, Reverend Laura. So please join me in speaking this week's affirmation. I choose to co-create my life as an expression of my true mystical nature.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Let's sing it now. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know.
So as we remain in consciousness and go deep down into that inner place where all is well, I invite you to just bring in and drink in and feel the presence of Spirit within you. Let our consciousness go to the presence of Spirit within. Let's enjoy that. Let's bring it in and just know that that's the sweet spot in life, is to realize and to feel the presence of Spirit within. As we prepare to listen to our message today, just know that everything that needs to be heard, everything that needs to be seen, everything that needs to be felt is already done in the mind of God. And just let that sink in and prepare to enjoy the rest of today's celebration. And so it is.
Let's sing. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and know.
Beautiful. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Justin. It was wonderful. So we are continuing on with our exploration of the mystic's journey, our theme for 2025. And this month we're focusing on the heart of a mystic, what it is to actually be a mystic. You just heard a couple of really good examples of it. That's a very simple song, Be Still and Know That I Am God. That's the work of a mystic. That's what mystics have realized throughout all of the time there has been any kind of understanding of a higher power, or conscious union with it. Being still, listening deeply, and knowing that Spirit is working through us. Our affirmation said that I am co-creating, I am expressing my life as God. I'm paraphrasing. Let me see exactly what our words were. I co-create my life as a mystical expression, or as an expression of my mystical nature. Co-create my life. Co-create my life with Spirit. You know, we've talked a lot about the stages of consciousness where we move from where we feel like things are happening to us to an understanding of some things I can do to change things in my life. And then to an even deeper understanding that Spirit is working through us until we finally get to that place where we actually have the experience of God. Our working definition of a mystic for this year is someone who has conscious union with the divine, someone who has had an actual experience of God. Now, those experiences, when you say something like that, you think, oh, it's got to be really grand, right? It has to be something really powerful. But it can be even in the most mundane things when we have that realization that I have stepped out of the way and I am allowing Spirit to work through me. And what a beautiful feeling that is when we actually can get to that. You know, today we're talking about the mystic's greatest power. And the mystic's greatest power for me is that ability to step out of the way, that ability to allow Spirit to move through me. It takes a lot of different things to get to that place. First off, it takes a willingness. It takes a little bit of an understanding of what's happening. It takes a surrendering, like, I don't have to do this. You know, as it says in the Bible, it is the Father within that doeth the works. I of my own self can do nothing. It is the Father within that doeth the works. Stepping aside and allowing Spirit to move through us. That is the mystic's greatest power here, is that it's not about them making something happen to them, but it's allowing it to happen through them, through us. That's the biggie right there, allowing it to move through us. I believe that we were created so that Spirit had a place to experience life. And it experiences life uniquely through us. For me, it experiences life as an overweight woman. For someone else, it might experience life as a tall man, or it might experience life as a young child. It is looking for all of these different ways of being and seeing the wonder that is available in every single one of those ways of being. And you know what the thing is? Spirit doesn't judge any of them. It loves them all. It is just looking for more and more experiences of life. And it needs us to move into expression. One of the people that I study is Joel Goldsmith. And he has this phrase that's taken a long time for me to get even a little grasp of what it means. But he said, God is present where it's realized. Now, we know that God's everywhere, right? There's not a spot where God is not, as they say. We know that. But until that being allows God to move through them, then God isn't realized. The person doesn't realize God is present in them until they step aside and allow God to work through them. And I think that's one of the highest callings that we have in life, is to actually get out of our own way and let Spirit move through us. We are allowing things to happen, and it's not because we are all that good or anything else, but we've opened up to something different happening in our lives. We've opened up to that one mind, to that creative intelligence that governs everything. And we are aligning with it, and we are allowing it to move through us into our experience. This is how we get to our greatest power. So the mystic's greatest power is that direct, embodied communion with the divine. It's the ability to know that Spirit is moving through us because of the experiences we have rather than somebody telling us about it. We don't become mystics because we sit and listen to a lot of people tell us about how to be a mystic. We don't become mystics by reading a lot of books or going to a lot of workshops. We become mystics by actually doing the practices. We become mystics by being still and listening. We become mystics when we surrender. We become mystics when we drop to our knees because we can't do anything else. And we feel that presence of the divine. That's when we have that direct experience of God. And that's when we really become mystics. If you look at all the mystics throughout all the ages, people that have been identified as what we would call a mystic, almost every single one of them had some kind of experience where they couldn't do anything else but surrender. Health challenges, people being abused and locked up and tortured and isolated and all of these things where there was nothing else for them to do. You know, it's what we call hitting rock bottom. They hit rock bottom in some way that allowed them to say, okay, I'm open, I'm ready. Move through me, Spirit. As we've been studying the mystics and so forth, there are 6 different qualities that mystics exhibit in becoming this channel through which Spirit moves into practice. Surrender is one of them, but there are several others, and I'd like to go through them today and show you some examples of mystics throughout time that have demonstrated this particular one. And so again, we're looking for someone who has had the direct experience of the divine, conscious union with God. Some people might call that the Christ consciousness or the illumined consciousness. But there are 6 ways that it shows up. The first one is an inner knowing. The theologians call this gnosis. The study of the Gnostics comes from this word, the knowing. So it's about that clarity that comes when we are still, when we can listen. It's about a knowing that you really can't even explain to anybody else, but you know it in your heart to be absolutely true, and there's no way you could ever unknow it. That's gnosis. In our tradition, we might call that the voice of God within. Or I love this phrase, the still small voice. The still small voice that speaks to us. This is, again, it's about an inner knowing, not about any external validation. I have found, even with a lot of these things that I know, and that I know, that I know, that I know, I can't explain it to anybody else. I couldn't convince anybody else to know it with me. You have to have the experience of it, or I've had to have the experience of it. And this is not about dogma. This is not about somebody giving you a list of rules and telling you how you have to be in the world. This is about having the inner experience of the divine and knowing it in a level that you could never unknow it. So the mystic has access to a deep intuitive wisdom. It goes beyond any intellectual reasoning, and it is a felt sense of truth that arises from within. A felt sense of truth. It arises from silence. It arises from practicing the presence. And it arises from surrender, those moments when we can't do anything else. This is not belief. This is knowing. And there's a huge difference between the two. No book knowledge will ever give you this sense of knowing that I'm talking about here. No one could ever tell you this. This has to be a direct experience that you have had. So the first mystic that is really well known for this is Meister Eckhart. Now, Meister Eckhart was a monk in the 1200s, Christian monk, and he has written several books and has been studied quite extensively. I spoke about him a couple of weeks ago where I said that he has a famous quote where he is giving a Christmas talk, and he says that we are all to allow God to be birthed through us. We are all the mothers of God, and we allow God to be birthed through us as it moves into expression through us. But this quote here, the eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me. God only experiences itself through us. God sees itself through us. God sees us through itself. This deep inner knowing arises not from any doctrine, not from any dogma, but from the direct experience of the divine. He describes this as the birth of God in the soul. As I said, he encouraged us to be mothers of God, allow it to be birthed through us. And this now is a gnosis that transcends any kind of dualistic thought. There is no separation here. The eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me. No separation. Meister Eckhart invites us into seeking God through our being. One of my favorite mystics here, Joel Goldsmith, says that spiritual illumination comes only in the silence and only through individual realization. Same thing, it's about direct inner knowing of God. Not through theology, not through dogma, not through doctrine, but through consciousness, through being still and listening, through having that direct experience. He emphasized that truth is only revealed in the silence, and that spiritual awareness bypasses any intellectual understanding. Sometimes we need to understand things at an intellectual level before we can even open up to getting that spiritual awareness. But we can also have the spiritual awareness. We can have those ahas without attached to any intellectual knowledge at all. One of our modern mystics, I love her, she's a Episcopal priest. Her name is Cynthia Bogard. And she says this in one of her books here: the heart of the ancient secret traditions is an organ for the direct perception of spiritual truth. The heart is the organ for the direct revelation of spiritual truth. Not the head, but the heart. It needs to be something we feel, not something that we intellectually understand. The heart is the organ of direct perception of spiritual truth. She speaks of this heart-centered knowing that transcends any intellect, and it's rooted in the deep, direct, inner experience of the divine. Gnosis is not an accumulation of facts, but it's an embodied, intuitive awareness. The second characteristic is radical presence. So radical presence is, we call it mindfulness nowadays, where we are actually in the present moment, where we keep ourselves out of the past and away from the future, and we stay centered and grounded in the present moment. Because in the present moment, everything is available. When we want for something, we're working in the future. When we are angry or fearful or shameful about something, we're working in the past. But if we keep ourselves in the present moment, everything is perfect. Right here. And in the present moment is where we meet God. God isn't available to us in the future or in the past. It's available right now in the present moment. That's where the divine mind is active. And so mystics accumulate the ability to be fully present in the moment. And this presence, it dissolves any egoic need for striving, for accumulating, for figuring things out. And it allows us to perceive the sacredness that's available in all things. One of the more modern mystics that practices this so beautifully, and he's very good about mindfulness, is Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen Buddhist mystic. He said, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. Practicing the presence through mindfulness, through every breath, through every action, dissolves any boundary between the self and other. It dissolves the boundary between the sacred and the mundane. It dissolves the boundaries between past and future and the present moment. When we can keep ourselves fully conscious of the here and now, we don't want for anything else. This is what the mystics call practicing the presence. The first person to write a book called Practicing the Presence was Brother Lawrence. in the 1600s. He was a Carmelite mystic. And he writes this: "The time of business does not with me differ from the time of prayer." Didn't matter what he was doing. He was in prayer. It was a sacred moment. It's what the Buddhists would have called chop wood and carry water. We find God in the everyday things, as well as we find God in the more extraordinary things. So when we are scrubbing our floor, or brushing our teeth, or walking our dogs, we can find God just as easily as we can when we're sitting here in the sanctuary in prayer and meditation. Finding God in the ordinary means practicing the presence all the time. It means keeping ourselves fully conscious of the here and now. And every time we feel our minds go crazy off in one direction or another, we do something to bring us back. This morning I was driving in, and for some reason the car seems to be a place where my mind goes to the past and the future. I'm not really sure why, but it's been that way my entire life. I have wonderful conversations in the car with just myself. I'm just by myself. So I'm driving in, and I am just ranting. I am literally ranting in my head and out loud, unfortunately, in my car to myself this morning. And all of a sudden, I got about 3 minutes into it, and I'm like, "Oh, Laura, what are you doing? You cannot go into the church like this. You cannot go in there with this rant on your mind. You have got to get yourself grounded and centered." And so I did some of my wonderful breathing practices first, just to clear away that stuff. And then I did a little spiritual mind treatment just to get myself centered again. And then I put on some good music. I chose Denise Rossier's "I Know God." And so she was on loop until I got here. But I had to do something to recenter myself because I was totally out of the present moment. I was having an argument with someone in my head, so it was a really good one too, and I was winning the argument. One of the modern mystics that's really, really good about practicing the presence, in fact, he has a book called The Power of Now and Practicing the Power of Now, 2 different books, is Eckhart Tolle. And he writes, "Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have." We put so much emphasis on the past and the future when all we really have is this present moment. And think of all the life that we overlook because we're worried about the past or the future. Because we're dealing with that because something that's happened or something that's going to happen, or fear or worry or an anger or whatever's going on inside of us has taken over our minds. And we lose the gift that's available to us in the present moment. So Tolle's entire teaching revolves around the transformative power of now. His own spiritual awakening came through surrendering to this presence. He was homeless, and he was living on a park bench, and all of a sudden it just hit him that he was spending all of his time away from the now. And to change anything in his life, he had to become centered and grounded in this particular moment. And so he transmits a stillness that invites us to the same awareness through his books. It's a deeply mystical state of consciousness, again, without any dogma. So the third quality that mystics exhibit is they practice love as a fundamental force. And so love is the bridge between you and everything, is what Rumi says. Love is the bridge between you and everything. In our New Thought, we believe that love is a cohesive energy of the universe. It brings things together. God is love is law, law and love and God all work together to bring about our experience. And this becomes more than a sentimental idea. This is a guiding and directing force in our lives. When we bring ourselves back to love, you often hear the question, what would love do in a situation? If you can ask that question when you're in a conflict, what would love do in this situation? It will totally shift your experience of it at that moment and bring you into that conscious connection with spirit. So the mystic sees love not as a sentiment, but as a divine, unconditional love. There's no love and, it's just all love. And it's the organizing principle of the universe. In other words, it's what's brought everything together and has everything working. I often say in my treatments that this creative intelligence loved so powerfully that it could do nothing else but create more of itself. So it could experience that love in greater ways. Acting from this love is the way that the mystics began to transform the world. Acting from this love. One of the best actors of coming from a place of love in our world is St. Teresa of Calcutta, commonly known as Mother Teresa. And she said, not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. She also said that I am a pencil in the hand of a loving God, writing a love letter to the world. She knew that her greatest thing was to be that place of love, to allow love to move through her in the most horrific conditions we can imagine in our world. Poverty beyond any poverty we could ever think of. Illness and death and disease to a greater extreme than any of us, I'm sure, here has ever experienced. And she loved the people in that. And it wasn't just a feeling for her. It was an action that was deeply, deeply rooted in a huge amount of compassion for fellow mankind. And her humility and understanding that she was that vessel through which God's love was coming into the world. That was her job here, to be that place where God showed up as love. Love for her became a mystical force that brought the sacred into the ordinary, that brought the sacred into the tragedy, that brought the sacred into poverty and disease and hopelessness. Her work was so sacred that she became this radical presence for the poor and the dying and the forgotten. She said that she met Christ in his most distressing disguises. And her goal was to practice this fierce presence right there in the midst of the suffering. Hers was a lifetime of the dark night of the soul. And yet through all of it, she prevailed with love. Another great bringer of love in our world is Paramahansa Yogananda, who also brought yoga to the Western world. And he said that divine love is the only perfect love. It is unconditional, changeless, and eternal. He taught that union with God was our soul's deepest longing. And he blended all of his teaching with what he called bhakti, which was ecstatic devotional love. It was communing in that inner stillness with that presence of the divine, always returning to love, to the cosmic heart of God. I recently, about 10 years ago now, had the experience of meeting a very young modern-day mystic. Her name is Valerie Kaur, and she's a Sikh activist, lawyer, and spiritual teacher. And she says that revolutionary love is the choice to enter into labor for others, for our opponents, and for ourselves. Her vision of revolutionary love is mystical in its nature because it is a sacred, transformative power that connects activism with the heart of the divine. She is a force to behold. She's got a couple of books out already. Powerful, powerful work. If you're interested at all, check out Valerie Kaur. Young woman. She's in her 40s. Looks like she's about 44. Fabulous young woman. So the fourth item that mystics all have in common is they have the ability to see beyond appearances. Vision beyond appearances. This is the ability to see the divine in chaos. To see the divine, as Mother Teresa did, in the poorest of conditions. To see that divine when anger and violence is going on in our world. To see the divine in the presence of everything is one of the greatest abilities of the mystic. And so this is actually seen with spiritual eyes. Because as we look out in our human world, our human eyes take over and we begin to get that information from that through our human senses. This is about seeing with that spiritual eye, seeing the situation and knowing that there too God is present. There too is the action and the activity of the divine. This is high and holy work. This is something I've been working on for a couple of years right now, is to be faced with situations and to go to that spiritual truth of it, to go to that where I can see, yes, I don't like what I'm seeing right now, but I know that God is present. And my knowing that God is present gives God a place to operate. And this is not, I'm saying this from an ego point of view. This is very much a humble point of view. Because when I open up and realize the presence of God, it gives God a channel to come through. And so as each one of us does this, when we are faced with any kind of situation, one of the simplest ones that you can do as you're just moving around town, driving on the road, you see an accident, know the presence of God is right there. Know the presence of God is working through every person in that situation. Know the presence of God is on the job. And we allow God to have a place to work. But when we don't, when we look only with our human eyes and we think of the tragedy and the heartbreak and the problems that are going on, then that doesn't give Spirit a place to work. Mystics know how to do this. They are able to see the light in the darkness, to see unity in any sense of separation. They can see through that illusion. The Buddhists call this Maya, the illusion. They can perceive the divine essence in the middle of pain and chaos and even in darkness. And that allows them to hold that paradox. Yes, I'm seeing this with my human eyes, but yes, I know that God is on the job. And when we can hold that paradox, it gives God a place to work. It isn't available if we don't bring the consciousness there. And so that is constantly our job for that. One of the great people that could hold that paradox was the poet Rumi. And he said, "Don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure." Don't get lost in the pain. Don't get so consumed by the problems that we're seeing that we can't see the place for God to show up. Allow that situation to help us remember that God is always on the job and allow it to come into our experience. Rumi saw through the veil of the form, and he could find the divine hidden in any instance of longing, of grief, even of ecstasy. He could see God in that. He could see God where there was an apparent sense of separation. And his poetry invites us to experience God that way, experience that sacred vision that he had with the beloved. It was always present, even when he was in sorrow or heartbreak. He could find God there. Another beautiful saint is Saint Hildegard of Bingen. I was just reading about her last week, and she is one of 4 women who are considered doctors of the church. There are only 37 doctors of the Catholic Church, so this is a very high honor. Based on her work that she did, she was granted that award in 2012. She received her vivid visionary experiences of the divine. She had lots of visions with Spirit in it, oftentimes coming through to her as Christ. But these divine visions revealed the interconnectedness of all creation for her. And her mystical insight pierced through all the sense of suffering and duality that she could see. She could perceive God in all of these difficult situations. She could reveal the light that was hidden within the shadow. And she was a visionary seer of this cosmic harmony that existed throughout there. She truly believed it. I love this quote here, "I am a feather on the breath of God." A feather on the breath of God. Next time you see a feather floating through, remember that you are the feather on the breath of God. And one of my favorite modern mystics here is Richard Rohr. How many of you read Richard Rohr's stuff? He's a fabulous Catholic priest. He says, "A true self is never separate from God." He consistently invites people to see beyond duality and surface appearances, And this contemplative framework that he has created teaches that even in suffering and sin and chaos, there are doorways to grace. These doorways will reveal a divine pattern within them. So it's always looking for that opening, always looking for a way for God to show up. The fifth power that mystics have is the power to surrender. I spoke about that a little earlier. Again, surrendering is not giving up, but it's about saying, I can't do anything more here, and so I'm just going to turn it over to God. And just allowing that space, because as long as we are struggling to fix it ourselves, as long as we're struggling to find that solution, as long as we're struggling, there's no space for God to work. And so surrender is about saying, okay, I don't know what to do here, but I know you do, God, so I'm going to turn it over to you and let you have at it and see what comes through. You know, again, this is where Jesus said, I of my own self can do nothing. It is the Father within that doeth the works. I can't fix it all, but I know God can. How many of you have a God can at home? You put those things in it that I can't do because I know God can. I love my God can. Surrender is not passive. Let me just clarify that. It is not a passive activity. It takes a lot of courage to surrender. It takes a lot of effort to get to that place where that's it. I can't do anything more. Our mystic's power, paradoxically, is amplified when they surrender. When they surrender, there's a space for God to work. You know, I love the quantum physics that says that everything exists in waves of possibilities, and it's just looking for a place to become reality. And so when we surrender, we open up, and then the possibility of God can rush into it. But as long as we're holding tight and closed off, there's no room. There's no room for God to get in. And so we have to get to that place where we yield to that divine will, where we trust the unfolding of this mysterious thing that we call God. One of the great practitioners of this is the 6th century Taoist mystic Lao Tzu, who wrote the book The Way. And he says, water is fluid, soft, and yielding, but water will wear away rock. Always have a place where we can actually open up. If we are soft and yielding, we can begin to chip away at those things that are binding us. But if we're hard too, it's not going to work on the rock. It's hard meets hard. We need to have something soft and fluid to open up and move it in there. Lao Tzu taught that the paradox of the power that comes not from dominion, but from yielding. I know he has one verse in his poem that's talks about a wheel. And he says, the power of the wheel is not in the ring around it or the spokes that hold it up. The power of the wheel is the empty spot in the middle, where it can be attached to something and allowed to move. Excuse me. Another one of our modern mystics is Michael Singer. Let go. That's all you have to do. That's an easy way of putting it. Let go. That's all you have to do. Michael Singer wrote The Untethered Soul and the Surrender Experiment. We're going to spend a little bit of time at the end of the month on the Surrender Experiment. He models that a mystic surrender to life as it unfolds is what helps us move through it. He had a book he calls The Surrender Experiment, where he decided to say yes to everything. Now imagine what your life would be like if throughout your day you said yes to everything that came your way. Excuse me, I got to put a cough drop in my mouth. And so the last one of the powers is the transmutation of suffering. So the transmutation of suffering means that we allow those experiences we've gone through, those dark nights of the soul, to actually change us. Because oftentimes we have experiences that are really bad and we don't do anything with it. We just go on about our life as if it didn't happen. But when we take those experiences and we allow them to actually shift us and bring us to a new awareness, a spiritual alchemy starts to happen. And the mystic can transform the personal and collective suffering into healing, wisdom, and service throughout the world. One of the great practicers of this is the St. John of the Cross, who experienced a horrific amount of torture and imprisonment. And during that, he had a spiritual awakening. And he said this, "In the dark night of the soul, bright flows the river of God." In the dark night of the soul, bright flows the river of God. So this powerful experience he had when he was imprisoned was a journey into conscious union with God. It was a very deep and mystical, profound experience for him. But it was not one of despair, but it was a sacred passage where the ego dies away, where that false self dies away, and then the soul is cleansed and purified and ready for that divine intimacy that happens. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, put it very easily and very succinctly. Change your thinking, change your life. If we are suffering from something, if we have thoughts in our mind that are causing us to suffer, change that. Stop that. And our lives will begin to change. Suffering is transmuted through spiritual realization. Suffering is changed when we change our thinking. When we change how we look at something, as Wayne Dyer says, the things we look at change. He emphasized the mental and spiritual healing as a way to turn limitations into liberation, transform fear and illness and lack through aligning with the divine mind, through conscious union with God. And one of our modern mystics here is Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote the wonderful book, Women Who Run with Wolves. She says, you were made for this. Don't run from it. You were made for this. How many times do we suffer, we face something and we do everything possible not to have to deal with it? Turn these personal things into deep wisdom and allow us to transform the trauma into creative and sacred power. Mystics know how to do this. This is what they do in their lives. They know how to move through things like this. I'll leave you with one final thought here. The mystic doesn't just believe in the divine. The mystic knows the divine because they've tasted the presence. Imagine how personal it has to be if you've tasted the presence of God. That's our goal in life, is to strive for that intimate connection with Spirit, with that conscious union. Practicing the presence, doing our spiritual practices, mindfulness, staying in the present moment, looking for love. What would love do in each situation? Coming from those places in our life can actually begin to change us. You know, it is written that God is closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Our task is to commune with Spirit until we have tasted that, until we have tasted the breath of God, until we have felt the hands and feet of God moving as ours. It's high and holy work, but every single one of us is capable of it. And this work will transform our world more than anything else can. All right, let's take this into prayer. I invite our practitioners to come and surround us. And so in our form of prayer, we begin by recognizing the presence of God. We align ourselves with it. We speak words of truth and affirmation We give thanks, and then we let it go. And so I invite you to just turn within. In whatever way works for you. I like to close my eyes, drop my shoulders, and take in a breath. And so right here and right now, I know that there is only one power, one presence, one divine, creative, love intelligence that has brought forth everything into existence. I know this one as love, that unconditional, pure, and perfect love that knows no boundaries, has no limitation, that is constantly outpouring throughout all the world. I know God as peace, as joy, as harmony, balance, wisdom, and completion. I know that the presence of this one is active in, through, and out, as all creation. Therefore, I know it is active in me. I know that the presence of that divine creative intelligence resides right at the heart of my being and is outpouring itself through me in all that I am and all that I do. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for each and every one of us. For we are all that perfect, unique vessel of a love intelligence operating in this world. And so knowing this truth, I speak my word. I know that right here and right now, that each one of us is a channel for the impressive spirit to move into existence in our world. I know that when we see suffering, we have an opportunity to be that place where God can show up. And I know that as we do this, our world changes around us. I know that when we see strife and struggle and confrontation and crisis, that if we take a breath and connect with Spirit, Spirit has a place to operate in this situation. And I know that as we encounter people with different ideas and different thoughts and beliefs, we always have an opportunity to be that place of love, centered and grounded in our conscious union with God. We are a force to be reckoned with. And I'm so grateful to know this. I'm so grateful to feel it. I'm so grateful to see it happening in our world right now. And so I release this word. I let it go. And I let it be. And together we say, and so it is.
I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, God's revealed and I am whole.
Thank you, Justin. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for joining us with that. You can sit down. So now is that time we have to support our community through your financial gifts. We are so grateful to receive. We are a 501c3 religious nonprofit and receive most of our funding through your generous donations. So we have several different ways you can give electronically. We have Zelle, text to give, and our website. Kaylee is in the back. She can help you with any of that if you need it. And we are grateful to receive your cash and check donations here today. And so as you prepare your offering, or if you're doing electronically, just put your hands over your heart. Taking a breath and just feel that. And if you would repeat after me, this gift I give
This gift I give
goes forth from me,
goes forth from me,
does amazing and miraculous things,
does amazing and miraculous things,
and returns to me in kind,
returns to me in kind,
pressed down and overflowing.
pressed down and overflowing.
And so it is. And we
so
have a
it
song, Justin, we're going to sing our
Good measure, chant.
Good Measure chant. The words are up here if you'd like to join us.
Good measure pressed down and shaken up, abundance flows through me. Conscious of my spiritual truths, I reap and sow God's bounty. Give and receive, live and believe. The measure that I measure with is measured back to me. Good measure pressed down and shaken up, abundance flows through me. Conscious of my spiritual truths, I reap and sow God's bounty. Give and receive, live and believe. The measure that I measure with is measured back to me. Good measure pressed down and shaken up, abundance flows through me. Conscious of my spiritual truths, I reap and sow God's bounty. Give and receive, live and believe. The measure that I measure with is measured back to me.
I like that new chant, Justin. Thank you. And so we just gratefully receive all of these gifts, knowing that we are blessed by this bounty, and this blessing moves forth from us in amazing ways throughout all of our time. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. All right, we have just a couple of announcements here. We have our pop-up bookstore. It's available this week and next week. So we have some wonderful new things there. Check it out. We always love our pop-up bookstore. Our soulful giving is continuing. They were collecting socks, razors, and deodorants for the unhoused neighbors in the valley here through Friends in the Desert. So there's a box in the lobby there that you can bring your donations. We will accept them. Next week's Father's Day, so it's the last day for it next week. So please give generously to our Friends in the Desert. Today we have a new member orientation. If you've thought anything about becoming a member here at Center for Spiritual Living, this is be about an hour to an hour and a half. It's called a workshop, but it's mostly a discussion group. So come and join us, find out what it means to be a member here at Center for Spiritual Living, and decide whether you'd like to commit to membership. We have a new class starting next month. As I said, I've loved Joel Goldsmith. I've studied his work for about 15 years now. And so his work is called The Infinite Way. And he has said in many of his recordings that there are 8 chapters you need to know if you want to understand the essential teachings of the Infinite Way. And so that's what this class is. It is those 8 chapters on how to have that conscious union with God, have that divine presence move into your life a little bit deeper each week. This is an online Zoom class, 2 hours. I have 2.5 down here. I like to put 2.5 because then nobody minds getting out early, but they don't like staying late. So it starts on July 1st. It's on Tuesday nights from 6 to 8. We have several